Don Lemon has been an enemy of the MAGA movement for quite some time. He's disliked by the Trump administration. That doesn't matter. What matters here is he was being a journalist who was doing his job and has now been arrested for doing his job.
Yes, MS-13 DNC, Don Lemon, award-winning journalist doing his job as a protester and a rioter and disrupting a church service in violation of the First Amendment. Hardly a defender of the First Amendment. Bomb, 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 bomb. Hang on. You may remember a left-wing radical extremist who worked for the racist Barack Obama named Jon Favreau. Jon Favreau. He has a Twitter account, and he's very upset about Don Lemon. Jon Favreau, he tweeted out, listen to this now, because they're really in their souls, they are totalitarian. They're communists, which there's very little daylight between the communists and the fascists. The fascists of Adolf Hitler called themselves the Socialist Workers' Party of Germany, just by the way. Another job done on history by the left, in academia and the New York Times. Oh, really? Were the Nazis were called the Socialist Workers' Party? Yes, they were. Yes, they were. And in the Soviet Union, they were the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics, and now the socialists are here. They call themselves Democrats, and they're targeting and shooting people with rifles from rooftops all over the place. They're self-immolating. Suicide attacks are normal in American politics now, and 100% of them are Democrats attacking Republicans. And, Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump and the list goes on, Congressman Steve Scalise and the ICE agents that they're trying to assassinate but killing illegal aliens instead in Dallas, Texas, a sniper Democrat who then killed himself, fortunately. But first he murdered 2 illegal aliens, shooting them through a van blindly. But that's the Democrat Party. And, of course, the massacre of police officers at the Black Lives Matter rally in Dallas, Texas, and we've got all that. But Jon Favreau, back to Jon Favreau, speechwriter for Barack Hussein Obama, who wrote on Twitter today, do we think Newsom's DOJ, now let's start with this, Newsom's DOJ, so he's assuming that Gavin Newsom is going to become president of the United States. That's step one. Jon Favreau, do we think Newsom's DOJ will start with Megyn Kelly and Matt Walsh types, or just make it more efficient by raiding Fox and arresting everyone? Sig Heil, mind fascist. The Ayatollahs would be proud of Jon Favreau of the Obama administration, a perfectly normal mainstream Democrat. Isn't that amazing? And Mike Cote responding, he retweeted Jon Favreau. Go to Fox News and arrest everyone, or target Megyn Kelly and Matt Walsh. What laws did they break, Jon Favreau? What has Megyn Kelly done that violates the law? What has Matt Walsh done? What has Fox News, for that matter, done that violates the law? But you hear these Hitlerian little Gestapo, these goose-stepping little fascists like Jon Favreau. We're going to arrest it, and Newsom, in his delusion, is going to be president, and he's going to take over the Department of Justice. And then it will be time to target everyone that doesn't sing from the Democrat Party sheet music, because Don Lemon, who, look, he made videos of himself. We played some of the audio of Don Lemon saying, I'm with him, I'm orchestrating, I'm coordinating with him ahead of time. He was a protester, not a journalist, and who does he work for as a journalist now? He's self-employed, right? But they tell you that conservatives that are out there actually covering the news and breaking news about the $9 billion perhaps in fraud stolen by Somalis and other Democrats in Minnesota, you break that news and they attack you and say you're not a journalist because they don't want the truth to come out, God knows. But isn't that amazing? So we got that. And Mike Cote, he retweeted Jon Favreau with, when does Gavin Newsom's Department of Justice start arresting Megyn Kelly and Matt Walsh and a raid on Fox News? Sig Heil, meine Favreau. Just amazing stuff. But Mike Cote responding said, what an incredibly revealing reaction to the arrest of Don Lemon. He was not arrested for his speech or journalism, but because he participated in an illegal protest interfering with the First Amendment right to worship freely, the first component of 5 in the First Amendment. Not that Jon Favreau would be aware of that, because he wouldn't. He's an Obama hack and a Democrat criminal. What crime have Megyn Kelly and Matt Walsh committed? Mike Cote asks, and I think that's a good approach, honestly. These people, I got to tell you, they're just not on the side of truth, justice, and the American way, not by a long, long shot. These people, and the violence, the madness, the craziness, the Democrats, aren't they dazzling? Yes, they are. And I've got audio sound bites for you that I wish to share as well. And let's go because the news media, they're really freaked out about Don Lemon. And again, he made video of himself showing that he was coordinating with the protesters before they invaded the church. And again, churches had just very recently been attacked by Democrats with rifles, shooting school children at a Catholic school. They were in mass, and the Democrats shot them up. And again, another one-day story, because it's the Democrats murdering children, which, they call choice. They call it choice when it's 1 million babies a year. That's called choice. But here on CNN, just kind of amazing stuff. Here is Sarah Seidner on CNN. She pretends to be a journalist.
It cannot be overstated. This is a
yes, it can.
Stunning move by the Department of Justice, going after a journalist, arresting Don Lemon. What do you see has happened here? Because a magistrate judge just last week told them, no, you are not going to lump him in with those who were protesting. He was there as a journalist. What could have changed, A, and B, how do you see this by the administration, what they have just done?
Yeah, how do you see it about the administration? It cannot be overstated, and then she goes to overstate it. And stunning, and the Department of Justice, and again, an Obama administration official calling for everybody to be arrested, everybody at Fox News, and Megyn Kelly no longer with Fox News, and Matt Walsh, and everybody has to be arrested because, the goose-stepping, hobnailed boots of the left, the traditions being carried on by the Democrat Party in the United States. While they call everybody fascists, again, it's the Soviet playbook, as was revealed under oath on Capitol Hill by another Democrat administration official, saying, it's the old Russian playbook where whatever they accuse you of is what they are doing in real time, and that is the Democrat Party up the yin-yang, if I may, in the context of Don Lemon. And here is Brian Seltzerwater. Seltzerwater wasn't he fired by CNN and then he was rehired by CNN or something? But here's Seltzerwater, and they're defending the First Amendment, not the part where you freely practice your religion without mobs of lunatic, godless, lefty organ harvesters attacking your church, but Brian Seltzerwater.
This is a First Amendment test with multiple dimensions. The First Amendment protects the work of journalists. It also protects the right of worshipers to go to church and be able to peacefully assemble and worship and practice their faith. And the argument that we have heard from Trump officials is that that right to worship was infringed not just by the protesters who walked into that church and started chanting, but also by Don Lemon because he and his crew members were there.
Well, and they coordinated ahead of time with the mob that went into the church. And Seltzerwater left that part out. And, of course, one of the things that I've pointed out for years is they don't follow the news. They're not aware of the news. If you waterboarded them, I don't think they'd be able to tell you what you know and what I know about Don Lemon and his coordination with the mob beforehand. Brian Seltzerwater.
Lemon has said all along that he was there not as an activist, but as a journalist. In fact, he was saying those words and repeating that out loud when he was inside the church. But he clearly knew something was taking place that day with the protesters. He told his viewers on YouTube to stay tuned because there was something about to happen. He was careful not to have his camera crew walk into the church until there was a disruption.
See, he actually, seltzer water, I hadn't even heard that soundbite. Seltzer water sounds like he knows, but here he is smoothing it over and covering it up for Don Lemon and the left.
The day after that incident, there was a lot of online outrage on the right. Many calls from MAGA loyalists to have Lemon arrested. I think an important part of the story here is the amount of pressure the Justice Department, Pam Bondi, and others have been under from the right to arrest Lemon, to take action like this. And as you said, the initial attempt to do so failed in Minnesota. Now we're seeing another attempt to do so.
To enforce the laws of the land and defend and protect the First Amendment, and seltzer water. So you also have the right to, the first and the highest priority in the First Amendment, seltzer water.
Lemon did say on his live stream last week he expected the government would keep coming for him. I think I view this in context with Trump administration attempts to target other perceived critics. Think about Letitia James. Think about James Comey. Think about the many cases we've covered in the past year of Trump retribution. Don Lemon is another figure on that list. President Trump has repeatedly attacked Lemon, both when Lemon was an anchor here at CNN, but again, more recently. Trump has made no secret of his disdain for Lemon, and Lemon, of course, has been harshly critical of President Trump for many years as well. So he is a Trump foe, and this is another example of the administration targeting a Trump foe.
Targeting. Now, if I remember correctly, the Obama administration spied on Fox News and spied personally on James Rosen and spied on James Rosen's parents, who live in another state altogether. And they spied on the Senate Intelligence Committee, and then the CIA director, John Brennan, lied about it under oath that they had spied on the Senate Intelligence Committee, and they seized documents and phone records and emails of journalists at the Associated Press and at the New York Times, James Risen, and at Fox News, James Rosen. And they targeted reporters all over the place, and they targeted leaks and leakers, and they spied on everybody and used the FBI and the intelligence community to collect and gather emails and phone records and text messages, and they jailed people for leaking information to the press because the left-wingers, they crack down on a free and open exchange of ideas and of truth, and they jail people because they're the left. You know, the KGB, show me the man, I'll show you the crime, Brian Seltzerwater.
The pressure from the right to take this action was really, really severe. And you're going to see some people, on the MAGA right who are going to cheer this. At the same time, many First Amendment groups, many press freedom advocates are going to say this has a real chill because Lemon walked in, yes, with a microphone and a camera to document what happened at the church. Yeah. And frankly, I think viewers are better off for him having told us what happened in the church that day.
Yeah, well, all the protesters, just like Don Lemon, were making videos with their own phones, and those, of course, would have been out in the public as well without any input from the usual crowd here, honestly. And do you remember this woman, Nakima Levy Armstrong? I want to get to her in a minute. Another one of these left-wing lunatic protesters. They're very very unwell, and it turns out it's going to be really bad because the Democrats are bringing slavery back, as I understand it. I think that's what's going on there. Just remarkable stuff. You know that rural Americans deserve access to the very best of what our great country has to offer, especially when it comes to health care. Across every state and every city, every town in America, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, our neighbors, the people that we love. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. You know it. I know it. The American people know it. They are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, and every year, America's more than 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies day and night, treating people fighting cancer, and other life-saving care that patients rely on and that we kind of take for granted. Behind every one of those patients, there are doctors, nurses, caregivers working tirelessly to keep Americans healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But right now, some in Congress are threatening access to that care. Tell Congress, protect patient care and keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care. Paid for by the Coalition to Strengthen America's Health Care. Yes, sir. When you hear this, the Democrats, they love slavery. Now, they are the party of slavery, and they can't stop talking about it. But somehow it's everybody else's fault. It's like the Soviet playbook again, the Russian playbook. Whatever they accuse everybody else of, they are obviously guilty of themselves. Nazis that they are. Those rascally Democrats. They really are crazy, aren't they? Yeah, seltzer water. Hey, it's just... we have Don Lemon. We have a Don Lemon soundbite making video while he's coordinating with the protesters before attacking the church. And that Don Lemon one, Michael. Don Lemon making video of himself conspiring with the protesters who are going to go violate the First Amendment rights of the church-going people.
Tell us why you're doing this.
This is Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere that is a key location. They don't expect us to come there, and then we disrupt business as usual. So that's what we're about to go do right now.
Yeah, so that's disrupt business as usual, because they claim that a pastor, one of, I think, 8 pastors at the church, is also employed by Immigration Customs Enforcement, and they're for open borders, and they're for Venezuelan gangs and Salvadoran gangs, and they want child rapists and murderers loose on the street. And I've got more. They released more of the people they arrested, and I'll share those with you in a moment. But that was Don Lemon interviewing a church rioter named Nakima, naturally, Nakima Levy Armstrong. Very confused name. But here she is. She's a WOC, a woman of color, and it matters because she was arrested. You see, she was arrested for her involvement in this attack on the church by a mob of lunatics. You see the video of the 2 young girls cowering in the corner of the church, freaked out by the mob of lunatics that invaded. And here Nakima was arrested because of, the violation of law and everything. And then you'll never guess what card she played.
We had belly chains around our waist, and we had handcuffs with bars in the middle. As someone who majored in African American studies, I can tell you that is the closest I ever felt to slavery in my life. Being shackled as if I was a slave. It is unacceptable and unconscionable, but it's on brand for a White House that specializes in cruelty.
Yes, the White House is paying close attention to your every step. It's slavery, I tell you, slavery. That's a Democrat thing. Yes, and the court has ruled that Democrat Party hero and murderer Luigi Mangione will not face the death penalty like the CEO did on the sidewalk when Luigi Mangione sentenced him to death and murdered him, assassinated him. Luigi Mangione will not face death penalty after Judge nixes 2 federal counts. I'm going to go out on a limb, say we got a Democrat judge here who loves crime and loves murder. The judge dismissed 2 of the 4 federal counts against Luigi Mangione, Democrat hero, including murder through the use of a firearm, which carried a potential death sentence, when obviously it was murder through the use of a firearm. So the idiot, corrupt judge, I'm going to give out his home address in a little while. I'm not really going to give out his home address. Democrats do that. Luigi Mangione will not face the death penalty for obviously, fatally shooting United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson because healthcare bad, insurance bad, CEOs bad, capitalism bad. The Democrat Party caused this assassination just like they caused the assassination of Charlie Kirk, as they caused the sniper to shoot President Trump through the ear, and a second sniper trying to kill President Trump on a golf course in Florida. The Democrat Party is a violent criminal party. the massacre of police officers at a Black Lives Matter rally in Dallas, the murder of 2 illegal aliens while trying to kill ICE agents in a suicide attack on an ICE facility in Dallas. The Democrat Party is insane. Judge Margaret M. Garnett dismissed 2 of the 4 federal counts against Luigi Mangione, murder through the use of a firearm, which he's obviously guilty of. Here's the videotape, which carries a potential death sentence, and a related firearm offense, which he's obviously guilty of. Mangione still faces 2 federal stalking counts. He has pleaded not guilty. Stalking is not the same as, here's the videotape, gun with a silencer shooting the man in the back that he had been stalking him and creeping around, lurking and all that. Garnett also ruled that Luigi Mangione's federal trial can feature evidence seized from the backpack he was wearing when he was arrested at the McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Authorities have said the backpack contained a ghost gun, fake IDs, a notebook full of his bloodlust, and other writings detailing Mangione's grievances against the private health care system in the United States, which is the Democrat Party all the way around. Mangione's lawyers pushed to bar that evidence from the trial. Sure, it's like that... what is it? That Jim Carrey movie, Liar, Liar, where it's the Mangione's lawyers pushed to bar the evidence from the trial because the backpack, when they arrested him, he had the backpack, and there's the gun, there's his notepad, there's all this stuff. But it does remind of Jim Carrey in the movie Liar, Liar, who famously said that. What was it, Michael, that whatever it was, he wanted something dismissed, and he objected to it. And why did he object to it, Michael?
Your Honor, I object!
And why is that, Mr. Reed?
Because it's devastating to my case!
Overruled.
Good call!
There you go. And that's what should have happened with the evidence in the backpack from Liar, Liar. Mangione's lawyers pushed Mangione's lawyers pushed to bar that evidence from the trial, arguing in part that the arresting officers conducted an illegal search, which is not true. It's in his custody, and he's being arrested for an assassination. But never mind that. The prosecution team has forcefully rebutted that false and ridiculous contention. I added a couple of words there. The 27-year-old, who the Democrats love and they want their daughters to date him, is accused of gunning down Brian Thompson, the CEO, outside a Midtown Manhattan hotel on December 4th, 2024. Shortly before Christmas, he was assassinated. His wife and 2 children were not pleased by the assassination. As the executive was heading to an early morning investor conference, the killing set off a frantic manhunt across the region. Mangione faces 9 counts in a separate case brought by New York State prosecutors. They're going to run him for office before they're done, including second-degree murder. It looked like first-degree murder. It was premeditated, plotted, schemed, and assassination. If that's not first-degree murder, what is first-degree murder? And various weapons charges. He has pleaded not guilty in that case, too. And the Democrats, they want to date him. Now, Michael, who was the idiot? It was Ana Navarro. Is that correct? On CNN. Is that right, Michael? Ana Navarro on CNN. Because they love murder, and they love murderers, and they love criminals that attack police. And their hero, Alex Preddy, they're talking about on CNN, and Ana Navarro said, everybody wants to have sex with Alex Preddy. And it's just like Luigi Mangione. If you're a criminal, Democrat Party women who are all mentally ill, they want you to date them, and they want their daughters to date criminals and murderers. Here's Ana Navarro on CNN talking about Alex Preddy.
They killed the wrong guy, right? Because this is like the perfect guy. Alex Preddy is the guy you would want to date your daughter. The guy you would want your son to grow up to be, a decent human being who was serving humanity, serving sick veterans, who is, there is nothing that has been said about that man that isn't wonderful. And so they can't malign him. They can't malign him because we have the videos.
And here are the videos of Alex Preddy 11 days before he was shot with a gun strapped to his hip, violently attacking a federal law enforcement vehicle, cursing them out. I can't, the cursing, he's calling them MFers and Fers and spitting on the windows into the faces of the federal law enforcement agents, and then throwing a couple of really good kicks, I've got to say, with presumably steel-toed boots, kicking out the taillight of the federal law enforcement vehicle. And then when federal law enforcement agents got out in complete uniform and approached him, he violently attacked them and assaulted them. And Ana Navarro says, this is the guy you want to have sex with. This is the guy you want popping your daughter. And honestly, Luigi Mangione is the same thing, the assassin, and they all want to date him. They want to date Luigi Mangione. Speaking of which, and they want to date the dead Alex Preddy, because he's exactly the kind of guy. He's the perfect guy, and his resume is perfect. He's mentally, criminally insane. He violently attacked law enforcement, federal law enforcement, on 2 occasions to defend criminals and illegal aliens and gang members, and he's the hero. And it's true, he worked at a VA hospital. That was his job, and we'll doubtless learn more about what's wrong with that sooner or later, because, these people, can I just say, these people. And there's more as well, because, the hero, Luigi Mangione, who assassinated a father of 2 on the sidewalk of New York, shooting him in the back while he was headed to work in the morning to provide for his family. And Luigi Mangione, who comes from a very nice family in Maryland, as a matter of fact. And isn't this all amazing? These guys are the heroes of the Democrat Party, and it's quite an extraordinary thing. Now, again, who are they defending? What are they doing? Oh, and by the way, somebody, a Democrat, showed up at the jail where Luigi Mangione was being held yesterday and said he was an FBI agent, right? And he's a Democrat, imposter facing charges after trying to break Luigi Mangione out of prison with a pizza cutter. That's the left-wing idiots at Mediaite. That's their headline. And USA Today, pizza worker. That's hardly the headline. Posing as FBI agent, tries to free Luigi Mangione. USA Today has the story. A criminal complaint obtained by USA Today says that Mark Anderson of Mankato, Minnesota, told jail workers, that everybody's in the Soviet Union is a worker, that he was an FBI agent and he had a court order for Luigi Mangione's release. And isn't that amazing? Amanda Lee Myers at USA Today, I think she wants to date Luigi Mangione. A pizza worker. I've never heard anybody called a pizza worker before. Posing as an FBI agent and armed with a pie cutter. That's one of those pizza cutters with a handle and the sharp wheel, pie cutter. It's a pizza pie cutter. Facing federal charges after he tried to bust Luigi Mangione out of jail, according to a criminal complaint obtained by USA Today. You're doing great reporting there. Mark Anderson of Mankato, Minnesota, is charged on Thursday, January 29th, with impersonating an FBI agent after he showed up to a federal jail in New York City the night before and said he had a court order to release Mangione, according to the complaint. Of course, Mangione was due in court today so that a Democrat could say that that's not premeditated murder, that he plotted for weeks in advance and got the gun and the silencer and got his schedule and lurked outside the building for him and then premeditatedly shot him in the back and murdered him because he's angry with insurance and with health care or something unhinged like that. And then the judge says, well, that's not premeditated. It's the very definition of premeditated. You put it in law books as an example of what we mean when we use the word premeditation, but never mind that. And then let's exclude all the evidence that we can because, they want them to walk free. They're Democrats, and there's something wrong with their brains. Could be an alien invasion. Really could be. When Bureau of Prisons officers at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn asked to see Anderson's FBI credentials, the complaint says that the 36-year-old produced a Minnesota driver's license. Here's a picture of it here. And that he was armed with a pizza cutter and a big barbecue fork, a big pointy fork. You could kill somebody with that fork. The pizza cutter might be a little harder unless you tied him up first in a chair, something like that. But isn't that amazing? 36-year, he gave his driver's license, and he was armed with, and he threw numerous documents. He threw numerous documents at the office. Hey, yo, I'm FBI credentials. He started throwing, like his release from a mental institution or something. I just made that up, but it might be. Officers then searched Anderson's bag, found a circular steel blade that looked like a small pizza cutter wheel. That's because that's what it was. That's why it looked like that. In addition to a barbecue fork, a big foot-long fork with two big prongs on it that you could stab people with, the complaint said. The complaint does not identify the inmate whom Anderson was trying to help, but law enforcement sources told USA Today that it was Luigi Mangione. I guess there might be an LGBTQ component to all of this, too. And you got protesters in front of the courthouse with not guilty signs and free Luigi signs, and they're all wearing matching garb, and they're mental. Try not to use the word tardo, but but there it is. Aren't they amazing? Yeah, Luigi the hero. And now no more threat of death penalty for him because, he wasn't it wasn't premeditated murder. And Don Lemon wasn't one of the protesters. Everything these people say is just remarkable, isn't it? Yes, it is. I am telling you. Let me tell you now. And we have more audio for you, too, because the crazy people are on the loose. The Democrats, they haven't been caged. They need to be caged, honestly. And crazy racist protester Nekima Levy Armstrong was arrested, and it was just like slavery. She majored in African-American studies, which means she doesn't know anything about anything, except she's a victim wherever she goes. Like Don Lemon, who, as Don Lemon has said, the only reason he was arrested is because he's black and gay. Well, no, but you'd be right at home in prison, at least, so have a nice time. Just remarkable.
As someone who majored in African-American studies, I can tell you that is the closest I ever felt to slavery in my life.
Well, I could meet you up with some people, but that's another thing for another day. Isn't that amazing? Yes, sir, man. In fact, let's go to soundbite number 14. Number 14, Tom Homan, our border czar, who is in Minnesota. He's in Minneapolis. He's trying to bring order from chaos. The Democrats represent chaos. Republicans represent order. These people, can I just say. Here's Tom Homan on what they are dealing with.
President Trump promised American people, including the residents of Minnesota, that he would work to ensure our communities are safe. And with that, this administration is absolutely focused on identifying removal aliens that pose a public safety threat and national security threats.
That seems like a pretty good idea. The Democrats say, no, they must run free. Free to kill, free to rape, free to forcibly sodomize underage boys, and free to forcibly sodomize underage girls, which they've arrested. And also the Department of Homeland Security last night, put out another statement. DHS highlights more criminal illegal aliens, including pedophiles, domestic abusers. Democrats love pedophiles and domestic abusers, like Kilmore Abrego Garcia, repeated domestic abuser, and Senator Chris Van Hollen flew down to Whoville to go have a margarita with him and hang out in jail, wearing something scanty. So DHS. More criminal illegal aliens, including pedophiles, domestic abusers, and violent assailants arrested yesterday in Minnesota. Isn't that amazing? So in just one day, and here is just in Minnesota, I have a list of some of the illegal aliens that were arrested just yesterday, just in Minnesota. And these are the people that the Democrat Party, they're fighting for in the streets. They're willing to give up their lives to secure freedom for these people. That's coming up.
The perfect guy. Alex Preddy is the guy you would want to date your daughter.
And so yesterday, the Department of Homeland Security put out a list of the people that they arrested in Minnesota day before yesterday, the illegal alien criminals that they arrested day before yesterday, that the Democrats are fighting for. And I'm going to share those criminals with you, those Democrats with you in just a moment. But first, I want to go to the telephones to Bonnie calling from Charleston, South Carolina. Bonnie, you're on the Chris Plante Show.
Hey, Chris.
Hi, Bonnie.
So are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so I think we need to go before Congress now to outlaw kitchen utensils. They're getting very dangerous. We have a marinade injector, a pizza cutter, and a barbecue fork. This is getting very serious.
You are absolutely right, and I had not put together the kitchen syringe. They keep calling it a syringe, and that poor Ilhan Omar was squirted. What was she squirted with, Bonnie?
Well, that's another kitchen apple cider vinegar.
It was apple cider vinegar. So we're going to have to, in keeping with the Democrat Party's habits, we're going to have to ban apple cider vinegar, right?
Right.
And the plastic syringe thing that you use to marinate and baste chickens in a pan, which is what she was squirted with, had the apple cider vinegar squirted on her, and now we've got the barbecue fork, a two-pronged fork. We're going to have to ban that, and of course a pizza cutter. So all of these things have to go.
I think it's time for another T-shirt. Ban all kitchen utensils now.
Why didn't I think of that, Bonnie? That is wonderful. We're going to have pictures of the basting. It's not really. Is it a syringe? Do they call it a syringe in the kitchen section, Bonnie?
No, I think they call it an injector.
Oh, okay, an injector. And so we've got to ban those, and the pizza cutter and the two-pronged barbecue fork. And, of course, apple cider vinegar, which is a dangerous chemical, remember?
Yep. I think we're in trouble. The kitchen is a dangerous place to be.
It is a very dangerous place to be in. And if you have to reach for anything on a high shelf, get somebody tall to do it, because we don't want anybody falling down on the job. Bonnie, that is wonderful. Thank you so much for the call. That is just great. We're going to have to ban a lot of stuff.